want to introduce you guys to a game that I'm excited about, but more so one I think could be important to gaming as a whole. Nostos. It's a shame we've heard so little about this game, as it has an estimated release of Q3 of this year. Set in a post-apocalyptic world 1,000 years after the collapse of civilization, Nostos builds a large world that nature has taken back that pushes players to uncover, explore, and piece together the truth of what happened. A story we've all heard before countless times. It categorizes itself as just an online open world game brimming with life. I think the reluctance to slap on genre tags like survival or MMO or sandbox is really telling of what they're trying to accomplish here, because the game at a glance seems to incorporate enough of these elements for them to merit their use, and throwing MMO on your project alone builds interest, something that NetEase, the company behind this, knows very well but still chose not to do. In the limited materials we've seen, as well as blurbs on their website, which is beautiful by the way, in an era where game websites are largely ignored, they talk about setting off on a journey with your companions. The game is multiplayer. Where you'll forage for food, where you'll build, where you'll fight side by side together. And there is footage to back this up. There is footage showing different types of weapons, different types of armor, different enemies, different wildlife, different things you can craft, and even a demo of this like weird steampunky motorcycle, and developers talking about being able to build airships for a better view. If you're big into game audio, Kevin Penkin composed the music for Nostos, and you might know his work from the incredible score from Made in Abyss, as well as vocals from Emmy Evans, who you may recognize from tons of stuff, but primarily Nier Automata, and they created a completely made-up language that is as atmospheric and haunting as it is mysterious. That really sets the mood here. If we were talking about almost any other game, I'd be like, cool, a new online survival game with a Zelda aesthetic people are going crazy for right now that isn't really focused on combat. I'd probably be most interested in how they'd incorporate the seasonal changes that they hint at on their website. The thing that makes Nostos different is it's being built VR first, which has huge implications and also explains why the focus seems to lie first and foremost in creating a world. I could get really poetic here about the wording of saying how much virtual reality and a virtual world to plug into is this dream that many gamers have who have grown up on books, movies, anime, and other games that just foreshadow what will pretty obviously happen at some point. But even if Nostos only becomes this kind of VR online survival game, right? A more relaxing VR arc, that would be fine, and it would probably do well as far as VR games go. I don't think Nostos at this point can deliver on that dream. Instead, it's an important step. And why I'm interested in Nostos is I think it has some potential to help normalize VR in a way that a lot of games can't, because it will have crossplay between VR systems and be playable without VR on PC, and it looks interesting enough that people will try it. You know, I've used a lot of the different VR systems, and there are still some problems with them, and while I'm not a fanatic who now swears off pancake games or anything like that, it's clear when you've spent time with VR that it's in a much better state than people believe. I think its main problem is one that feeds into itself, with not having enough games or good enough games to act as an entry point or to retain the people and shake off the novelty of the system, so the market stays small and feeds off that novelty. Games like Beat Saber or Knockout League or Rec Room, all fun games that have the same appeal as a tech demo and are almost VR adaptions of Wii party game compilations. I say that having played tons of hours of these games, and these are games I would recommend to almost anyone easily, because playing games in VR is really cool. But the games need to evolve. And I hear a lot about the lack of VR's traction or slower growth than expected due to things like the room requirements or the price tag or the cords, and that you need to convince people to invest into this hardware in the same way you try to get people to invest into new systems, and that's the challenge. But I think that's all wrong. I look at VR more like a gaming accessory, like a flight stick or a racing wheel. Most people aren't buying racing wheels to play the latest Forza or Gran Turismo blind. What happens is that they play these games, get really into into them and learn that they can improve and enhance their experience further by buying the wheel. Then when they buy the wheel and once they have it, they might go out of their way to find other games that use it because they don't want to play games without it. Same thing with joysticks and fight sticks or almost any hobbyist product. What VR needs are games with elements that the accessory will strengthen that are playable without. And when it comes down to it, that strength is immersion, which Nostos, a game trying to just create a world, is a prime candidate for. And most importantly, it doesn't suffer from that only a mother could love style graphics that other VR games have, some of which are trying to offer a virtual world as well. And they'll benefit this genre in a different way. As Nostos will bridge a gap between non-VR and VR players, other games will figure out how do you gamify a virtual world into creating an experience that people want to be in, and then how do you update it over time. When it comes to VR and the games that will work with it, we're still in sort of a figuring it out mode. They've shown Nostos out to some people, and the reactions have been pretty positive, although most of the reactions end up going into that like, wow, what could this become? And the testing windows they had were quite limited because these were at conventions, although they are supposed to be doing some testing in April where hopefully we'll have a lot more time with the game and we'll be able to see and answer a bunch more questions, because there are obvious challenges here making something for VR, but trying to make it gripping and engaging for somebody using a mouse and keyboard. But yeah, I mean, this is Nostos. It's definitely something interesting that I can't wait to share more with, but that will do it for me. Until next time, this is Fever. Peace.